Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Gran Turismo 4. Last time we took a bit of a break from our beginner events and decided to go do some special conditions, aka rallying. And I got my favorite car, well, one of my favorite cars, the Cadillac CN, a Cadillac concept car that never saw the light of day. In this episode, we're gonna get getting back in our Mitsubishi Lancer and not hopping directly into the rally events, but instead going to the upgrade shop. Because this next rally event requires something new that we haven't seen yet. Well, maybe we haven't seen it. Well, I think we have seen it. It's just it hasn't been apparent that it happened. Here you go specifically to tires, and we have sport tires, racing tires, which we have racing tires, but you're not really going to know about them until we get into like the high level events. What we need now is dirt tires. Dirt tires are required for categories of rally events where dirt tracks basically. So this next one, which I'm pretty sure is Grand Canyon, is one of the dirt only tracks that require dirt tires. So let's go ahead and head over to special condition and go ahead and continue our journey. Grand Canyon Rally easy. So, let's see what we got here. In case you don't recognize this, this is the track from the license test, I want to say 8 or maybe 9. Either way, it's the one that we saw in the beginning of dirt riding, like dirt driving. But it's not only just that one section, it's the entire track this time. So now we have to kind of get used to it. So let's go ahead and get started. 4-point race against the usual opponent. Lancia Delta. As you can see, this track it's a bit bigger from the ones that we've done before. And here's all I have to say about dirt racing. I love the dirt and snow racing, but we don't have to worry about snow racing until later. The reason why I like it is because dirt racing allows for so much more stuff that you can get away with, like heavy wall riding, like that right there. You can't get away with that whenever you're driving on the road. Look, like, you could literally just smash into walls and it'll let you get away with it. That's why I love dirt driving. Because you don't really have to worry about penalties and stuff like that. As long as you manage to spin out, make it seem like it was an accident, you just won't get the penalty. And that's just to show us real quick. Wall riding is still a thing that you can do here. I can just smash into that wall and nothing will really come out of it. Of course, later on I'm going to have to actually drive, good in the later rally events, but for now I don't really have to worry about it because, what's the AI going to do? They're in, a really bad car compared to my Lancer, and there's not really a lot they can do, so. Anyways, as you can tell from this, the track is larger. It's a lot more complicated than both of the other tracks. While those two tracks were narrow and requiring a lot of, tight turns and stuff like that, this track is very much just complex. It's not really narrow, but it's lots of twists and turns and, new things like bumps and hills and stuff like that. It's new, and we get to see the air figures of Gran Turismo 4, which are notably not all that apparent. Since you don't really get to see a car go in the air all that much unless you cheat your way into getting a car to go insanely fast, like this one. Anyway, you don't really see a lot of cars go airborne normally, but when you do, it's usually on the rallying events and usually on tracks like Grand Canyon or the next one that I'm not really going to bring up until we get to there. So, as you can see, dirt tires. Yeah, dirt tires. What else does it really say about it? I guess it's kind of like the handling also. The way it handles is very much more slippery. Like if you accidentally let go of it, if you accidentally turn too much, overcorrect, you're gonna feel it because you're gonna spin out a lot. These things aren't really built for speed, so for mixed environment tracks, like that have roads and dirt, these things are not really meant for speed, so that's what they're only really reserved for tracks like this, like Grand Canyon and rallying events that are like, mixed track condition. So overall, these things are kind of just meant for the dirt. Same thing with snow tires, but snow tires are their own different thing. And that's all there really is to say about the dirt tires. How about Grand Canyon? I kind of like Grand Canyon, Sure, it may not be the most visually interesting, but you have people running on the track and running for their lives as they're speeding down the Grand Canyon. Overall, it's a fun track. I like it. It's a shame, though, that it's pretty long, and in some of the later races it turns into one of the longest tracks you're going to have to drive down, I'm pretty sure at least. I don't think there's any other rally track that really gets as long as this one, except for maybe like one. By the way, Grand Canyon is Grand Canyon's a very big track. And as you see right there, the one and only penalty I'm going to get this race probably came from me just not hitting the brakes at all. I may be saying to yourself, why didn't you hit the brakes? Well, it's not really necessary. I have a 15-second lead on this dude, and I don't really need to hit the brakes at all. In fact, I can probably smash this wall right here and still get the win. Overall, brakes are not necessary on dirt tracks. All it is to anyways, in terms of other things, I'm recording different projects right now. I'm recording several different Let's Plays. I have another first 30 minutes recorded and edited to get it uploaded, in case you don't know, the first 30 minutes was it's another little series I'm doing where I just played 30 minutes of the game I haven't tried before. And that's pretty much it, but I have another one of those ready. I've only really done one of them, but I'm going to upload another one soon. So. Yeah! That's the first Grand Canyon race down. It took 5 minutes. Anyways, yeah. First 30 minutes. I have a couple of games I want to try. It's just kind of that. Realistically, it's just going to be like, I don't know. It's also kind of like there's too many options because there are a lot of games I haven't played. So picking between one is just kind of like, well, which one do I go to? Because there's lots, and there's like tons and tons of games I have never tried in my life that I still do need to try out. A lot of them I can't access right now because I don't have a good source of funds. I can't exactly just easily get games unless it's like emulated. And that's like one thing I really like. That's one thing I kind of like. I'm not against emulating games. It's just kind of like I want to play on physical hardware, like I'm doing with this game right here. I mean, I traded a friend for this PS2, and I traded a friend a game that could have been a potential Let's Play, and I traded away for this PS2, and I had to actually get Gran Turismo 4 on PS2 since I didn't have it. And this PS2 didn't even have any controllers or cords with it. I just kind of had to buy those as well. So I like doing things on physical hardware because I feel like it adds a bit to the authenticity of the Let's Play. It makes it feel like, oh, he's playing it how it was originally played, right? It's like, I'm not going to lie. I did not know that you could smash into those barriers and they would just like not be a wall. I did not know that. I guess you do learn something every day. But back to what I was saying. Yeah, I like to play things on physical hardware. So when it comes to emulating, I'm not against it. It's just I want to have things on physical hardware. So it's like I wouldn't be against playing Gran Turismo 4 on an emulator for a Let's Play. In fact, fun fact about this game, I actually did do that. I did like 2 parts of the Let's Play, 2 episodes. I recorded 2 episodes on the emulator. And then I just kind of sat on it for a bit because I was like, oh, this is gonna take a while to do, right? But then like a year later, I'm pretty sure, because I didn't record it for like a year. I was working on other stuff at the time. Like I'm pretty sure I was recording Hitman, or yeah, it was Hitman. I was recording Hitman. And then, a couple months later, my friend was like, hey, I got a PS2. Do you want to trade it? And I was like, yeah. So I traded it, got the stuff necessary to actually play it, and got Gran Turismo 4. Actually, what games did I think I got Gran Turismo 4 and 3 from a web, I think it was like DK Oldies or something. And yeah, I got Gran Turismo 4 and 3, and I decided after I got Gran Turismo 4, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna redo it, but this time on the original hardware, because on original hardware it's a lot better. Times are better. It's like how would it describe original hardware? It's like you're just reliving like a memory someone else had. Because my dad had a PS2, but he didn't have Gran Turismo 4. And I didn't even know Gran Turismo was a series until, I think Gran Turismo 6 was already out. So I didn't really know it was a series until then. I think I did play racing games, but I think I played Midnight Club 3 a lot, and LA Rush on the PS2. I remember I also played a little bit of Juiced, and I think it was Juiced 2, actually. Anyway, I've had experience with racing games in the past. It's just Gran Turismo's one series that's kind of avoided me for a while. It was kind of the same thing with Forza, and it's like it avoided me for a while. But when I finally played one, I was like, the first one I played was 5, and that was when I was like 10, and I was like, man, this game is boring. But then I came back to it, and I was like, a few years later, and I was like, it was actually a pretty good game. I think it was also 5 that I came back to. I was like, man, this game's pretty good, and I found out, other games, and like there was other games in the series, like, man, this is really good. And fast forward to now, and I'm doing a Let's Play of it, so, it's doing good. Yeah, I'd say I'm doing good. Everything's fine. I'd say my appreciation for the series has kind of gone up the more and more I've played it, because it's like Gran Turismo is a game you can always come back to. It's like, I think this era of racing games in general is just games you can come back to. Need for Speed Most Wanted, Need for Speed Underground 1 and 2, Pro Street, Juiced, Midnight Club 3. Gran Turismo 4 and 3, Mario Kart Double Dash, that's like probably like the worst example, but like even though it's like very arcadey, Mario Kart's still a good racing game to come back to if you just like want to go back to something. That's surprisingly, you got Need for Speed Carbon too. You also have what else do you have? You have Juiced 1 and 2. LA Rush is kind of a game. I'm pretty sure a lot of people don't know what LA Rush is, but I don't want to ramble on about that game anymore. This is kind of like, describe LA Rush. It's like a very racing game. It feels fine to drive in. The game is kind of difficult, considering like the end game of LA Rush is very much a difficult game just because of the races. Let's see. I think that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it for like this era of racing games that I can think of. There's probably a lot more than name, but those are the few I can think of. But yeah, I think these are the games you can always come back to because they're always fun to play. It's always fun to come back to these games and just appreciate an era that's most likely not going to be recovered, since a lot of racing games now are just kind of mixed. I like Gran Turismo 7, but there's obvious flaws with it. Need for Speed's kind of been hit or miss. A lot more misses than hits, but Need for Speed Heat was pretty good. It wasn't the same as the old era, but you take what you can get. Forza has fell off extremely, but hopefully the new Forza Motorsport reboot will bring it back. And a lot of new games have not new racing brands have come out, like Assetto Corsa or Project Cars. Ooh, anyways, aside from the rambling, let's see what prize card we get from this Grand Canyon Rally Easy. So, for completing Grand Canyon Rally Easy difficulty, we get the Ford RS200. Probably one of our first like rally icons of the game. The Ford RS200 is notably a one of the most probably one of the most iconic rally cars like in history. And yeah, that's all there is at least to say about this specific model, because it's just a stock RS200. It's still a pretty good car. It's gonna, I don't know. Let me check real quick. See, it's like an American '80s event. Muscle car, hot rod car competition, all American. I don't think they're specifically like a before like 1980s. So I think we should be good to use this thing on a lot of competitions, but it's probably gonna like pass on that. But either way, let me see where I can find it. Ford RS200. Gotta look for it for a bit. Where did they put this thing at actually? Is it in the last page? No. Where did they throw it at? Give me a sec. Actually, you know what? Let me just do this real quick. Manufacturer. Spoiler alert. Here's like a lot of the manufacturers. Here we go. Ford RS200. Got 247 horsepower, 4-wheel drive. A lot of good stats on this car for what it is. Upgrades can make this thing a beast in rallying, but I think that's besides the point. And with that, we're going to actually cut it off here. But in the next episode of Gran Turismo 4, we will be going back to the beginner events and continuing our journey into completing all of the beginner events with the lightweight K Cup, I'm pretty sure. So I will see you guys then.